Right, here we go. I've got to ask you about this sumo wrestling obsession.
Big men slapping each other is it's a favourite pastime of mine.
Let's get into your rural life.
I wanted to live and work in the countryside. A quote that I think about most days is, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And that was a quote that my father taught me.
Hello and welcome to the FarmettePodcast. I'm your host, Tamara Warhurst, and this is a show where we talk about the importance of the countryside and how it has shaped my guest's life. I have asked my guests to choose from a selection of themes from the countryside that have directly impacted their life. My guest today was born and bred in Lancashire. He's fascinated by sumo wrestling, and his big dream in life is to become a footballer after his idol, Andrea Pirlo. But for now, he is the founder and owner of Lanx shoes, a proudly British footwear brand known for timeless style, quality craftsmanship, and a deep connection to the landscape that inspires it. Having received a letter, he went on a 6-month journey learning everything he could about making shoes. His shoes have been worn by numerous sporting heroes, allowing them to develop partnerships with the likes of English Rugby League and Wales Rugby Union. It is a company that prides itself on being approachable and timeless. Marco Vaghetti, this is your rural life. Welcome to the FarmettePodcast.
Thank you very much. That's a very grand opening. I've had a few. I think that's the best one tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Oh, winning. I'm winning then if that's the best. Well, I obviously did some research on you and heard a lot about you. And I've got to ask you about this sumo wrestling obsession. Where on earth did this come from?
Well, I mean, you only have to watch a game of sumo wrestling to understand why anyone would be obsessed with it. Big men slapping each other is it's a favourite pastime of mine, having been to boarding school and whatever else. So, it's... no, I mean, I was in Japan. I was travelling on this shoe journey, and we stumbled across what they call a sumo farm, which is a house within Tokyo where all the sumos live. And sort of they'll be there wrestling and fighting, so you can peer through a window, and then they would come out and sort of slap themselves and clean themselves down in the street. I mean, when you see that, I mean, you can't. It's not like you're watching. I mean, David Beckham is a great guy to look at and watch football, but when you see a sumo wrestlers doing that in the street, it pretty much sticks with you for the rest of your life. So.
I can only imagine. How extraordinary. And also your sort of love for this footballer. Tell me about this guy.
Andrea Pirlo. Well,
yeah.
I think it's not so much as him being a footballer. It's just he's just a cool guy, I guess. So I think ask any man that watches football or knows who he is. He's just I suppose he's a little different from most footballers in that off the pitch he looks like a sort of Armani model. You know, he's but in a very laid back, casual vibe. I think he has the odd cigarette. So yeah, just exceptionally elegant on the pitch, exceptionally elegant off the pitch. So he's sort of what David Beckham is to English football. He's what Italian. Him and Francesco Totti, the two big Italians. But he's kind of, he's sort of very elegant footballer, or was. He's retired now, but very elegant dresser, almost like an Armani model, very laid back sort of fashion style. Tends to have the odd cheeky cigarette off the pitch.
Yes.
But yeah, just if there was a footballer, he's a cool dude. But he seems to have all the time in the world, which is a blessing. So
amazing. And so, reading about your story, let's go back to, before you started Lanx. And I understand you received a letter and you headed off on a 6-month journey to learn how to make shoes. What was that letter?
Well, that is a question. So the letter that started everything to do with Lanx was a private letter. So
okay.
I've never divulged the actual contents of it.
Oh, I understand.
But what it did do, what the contents of that letter sort of set off a fire in me to want to do something, create something, get into footwear, So it was the catalyst to the beginning. I remember receiving the letter, opening it in a car,
Right.
and reading it and thinking, do you know what? The next section of my life is going to be trying to create a footwear brand. So that's what that letter did, and it set me off
And
on a
are
trip.
we allowed to know who sent you the letter?
That remains private between me and the person
Really?
who sent it. Yeah,
Okay.
it was quite
I
a delicate
love,
matter.
no, I love these things. I love these
Yeah,
things. And obviously that's, completely respectable and I won't push you for that. But
sure.
how cool is that? Okay. So you then went on this 6-month journey. Where did it take you?
So I decided to dedicate 6 months to going in and out of as many shoe factories as I could possibly find, and that would open the door to me. So some of the countries I went to were Indonesia, China, India, Philippines, and the one that stuck out the most to me was Japan. So there's a little suburb of Japan called Asakusa, which has a traditional footwear making sort of history behind it, where all the footwear making would happen. And I stumbled across. I was backpacking and I saw a little flyer promoting the industry, shoe industry. You could, for the first time, they were allowing people to go in and out of the factories. It's like an open
Open
weekend,
door. Yeah.
open door. And so that's what happened. And I just fell in love with, I mean, I already had a passion for footwear before, but just seeing these guys making footwear one pair at a time by their hand was very, very inspiring. And I came away thinking that, that's the quality. I knew I wanted to get into footwear, but I didn't know the quality that I wanted to get to. And that sort of set a standard that we've tried to replicate here.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting because I wonder whether, we wrongly maybe we assume that anything that comes from that way in the world is not that well made.
Hmm.
And obviously that's not true. What was so fast? What was so good about what they were doing?
Well, obviously, Great Britain is world famous for making exceptional footwear. So
Yes.
but Italy's very famous. Lots of different countries are very famous for making, and having spent time traveling the world, seeing different factories, there's all levels of
Yeah,
quality in every country,
of
even
course.
in the UK.
Yeah.
So what I found fascinating about Japan in particular was one gentleman called Nagura, who made he was making sort of like a hybrid formal shoe with a trainer, and it was something that I was really interested in, and I wanted to bring into the Lanx mold.
Yeah.
Um, I never quite got it right, so we didn't go down that route in the end. But I was fascinated at this concept, a hybrid concept between sort of like a brogue, but with a trainer sole. His brand's called NGR Products. He's still a one-man band. He only makes sort of one pair a month or something.
Oh
It's very,
gosh.
very highly commissioned stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what fascinated me, and just the amount of little makers, like just one-man bands, and the time and effort they were making, and the cost of the footwear.
Yeah. And
Not that we.
do you speak any of those
No,
languages?
no, no, no.
So how did you even get to sort of,
Yeah.
talk to them?
Well, in Japan, they tend to speak quite good English.
Okay.
So I didn't speak any Japanese.
Just a lot
A
of sign language going on
lot of
over
sign.
there. Shoo.
Yeah, yeah. But also, don't forget they had this open door policy in Japan. So they had
Okay.
like little signs outside saying "Come on in," So it wasn't
Got you.
it wasn't
So
that awkward.
they were expecting
Yeah.
people.
Although in other countries they weren't expecting me, so it was very mixed reception in most places.
Yeah.
Mostly good though, because I was there sort of inquiring about the possibility of potentially working with them or
Being a
doing
client.
something.
Yeah.
So they were interested to welcome me in. Uh, so yeah, that it was a mixed bag, but on the whole, mostly very welcoming.
Oh. And how has being based in Lancashire, let's go back to home roots now, sort of shaped the way that you hire and build your business? And obviously, the British countryside has influenced your brand and your ethos.
It has indeed, yeah. I mean, we have a sort of saying in house. What we are is Northern Country Contemporary. We sort of we go to all the big shows, and sometimes we feel a little out of place because a lot of the shows are down south, and there's a certain dress code or whatever it is down there. But we are very. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves we are who we are. We're northern, we're Lancashire, and we are country.
Yeah,
based here in the beautiful Ribble Valley. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's a beautiful part of the world that people tend to fly past on the way to the Lake District. So we're just off junction 31 on the M6. So if you're heading to the lakes, you've flown past the Ribble Valley. So we're like have this little hidden gem.
Yeah.
But how is it? I mean, I wanted to set up a business, but I also wanted to set it up in Whalley, the village that we were based in, because I love living here.
Yes.
I didn't want to have to commute to the outskirts of Manchester or Liverpool or Leeds, which are all close cities within an hour. I wanted to live and work in the countryside. So I guess the rest of the staff that work here are of a similar nature. They like coming to work in a beautiful part of the world. So that's a big tick for them.
Yeah. And for a brand that is actually a rural brand.
Yeah. Our style or aesthetic is rural. So it doesn't make any sense. If we want staff on tap, we'd go and set up in Manchester.
Yes.
But what we want is to be a country brand and to be based here and, go for walks in the countryside and, go for a beer after work to the pub, whatever it may be. So just the way, and that's the type of staff we attract. The ones that want to be in the city life, they probably don't tend to gravitate towards what we're doing. So
yeah. How have you found your rural customers? Like, has there been a change over the years since you started the brand? Or do you find that, of course, like they still want this like kit that's actually practical, durable, and I guess, super trusted with you guys as a brand?
I think we've obviously naturally I've got a bit of this. We have a brand Bible. I've got a saying in there. So I think it's Noel Gallagher. Is it "Be yourself, you can be no one else"? I think it was a line out of an Oasis song where
nice.
We about 5-6 years ago we really honed back in on who we were and tried to be more comfortable in our own skin. We spent a couple of years trying to be a bit cooler, a bit more Manchester City. Our slogan was "For the boardroom to the bar." The reality was no one ever went to a boardroom. We didn't go to bars. We went to pubs. So we changed our slogan a few years ago to "Get 'em worn," which was we wanted to attract a customer that wanted a product that was sort of rough and ready, throw it on, durable, built to last. So we've naturally attracted that crowd. And once a year we do a survey where we ask people, are you a city person? Are you a rural enthusiast? Are you a outdoorsy? And the rural enthusiast is sky high.
Yes.
And we've attracted that through the products we make, the marketing, the way we talk, the events we go to, the shows. And then we also sponsor a lot of the rugby teams, as you've mentioned, who tends to attract a less city crowd, a more a rural crowd. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, I live in the middle of Warwickshire, and 100% it sounds like I definitely need a pair of your boots, because it is hard to live in the countryside and wear what I call your standard city boot, because they just are not durable enough. They're not hardy enough. And for anyone that works outside, you do need something for super protection that is going to, stop your toe being chopped off if you drop something on it, or stub your toe on whatever you're doing in the yard. It's really cool.
Well, there was a bit of a moment, actually. We were at a show about 6-7 years ago, and we were still trying to sell formal footwear, and we still had the slogan "For the boardroom to the bar." And I was with all the guys that we were working, and we were all caked in mud. It would have been a wet show. I can't remember which one it was. And we all sort of looked at each other, and the guys of the last few weeks before that had been coming back to me saying, "Look, we're going to need another pair of shoes because we've absolutely ruined all our brogues that we're wearing in the field." So they kept coming back, and we just sat. The brand has developed, but we'd all just sat there and went, we've got to change who we are and what we offer, because we're offering a product that actually I don't know if people here really want. They were buying them, but now we've changed the product offering, changed the slogan, changed our marketing from away from the boardroom to the bar ethos to get them worn. It's
get them worn. I love that.
Worn.
And it sounds like, you know, it's a doer type of shoe, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we want. We didn't want people buying the product and then inspecting it for every last detail of, you know, finish, because they've got to wear it for a wedding or to the office. We wanted people like, you know, it doesn't mind if the leather's a bit uneven or a bit scuffed. That's the beauty of the product.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And we work with Charles of Stead Tannery in Leeds, who are the masters of that kind of rough and ready leather. So that's a string to us as well. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's get into your rural life, because that's why we're here on the podcast. And I want to start with the person that you have chosen today. What did they teach you about rural life?
I guess it would have to be my grandmother, who we all lived on a farm together in the countryside in Lancashire, and just being with her, there was a cluster of 3 or 4 houses. All the family lived together. It's since broken
like a commune. I love that. I wish we all still lived like that now.
Yeah, it was down the lane. We had horses and cows, and I must admit I didn't get my hands very dirty, if I'm being honest. But I just loved, you know, living there, being with my grandma. She would sort of, you know, grow her own vegetables and things like that. And yeah, it was just a nice.
Was she farming? Was your grandparents farming?
Yeah, not in a huge way. Just more sort of more of a passion than industry.
Yeah.
So we had all types of animals on it. It was called Moseley Farm, and yeah, I would help out, but mostly horses. So I grew up going to all the shows, the horse shows. That's why my love of going to the county shows and
yes,
you know, the Badmintons and the Blenheims and things like that.
Yeah.
Because my auntie was into dressage, and her husband was into another form of racing, which was sort of where you sit on the cart. I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh, like a horse with a cart.
Yeah,
carriages.
Yeah. So he was into that. So we used to go to all these different shows. They were farriers as well. My uncle was a farrier. So I would often jump in the van and go and watch, you know, all to the big stables, you know, the nice stables around. So I was always in and around that that world. So yeah, that's how my upbringing for. Yeah. So I was about 16, and then I was moved away from that. So
I love that. And obviously, I mean, I'm assuming that the place that you're going to choose is going to be Lancashire. But is there a particular spot or place where you still go to, maybe back now, that you feel, you know, if you need a bit of peace and quiet or you just need a moment, is there somewhere that you go to?
There is, in fact. So we're based in the Ribble Valley, which is in Lancashire. And I was very, very lucky to go to a school down the road called Stonyhurst, which is a boarding school. And
what age did you go? What age did you start there?
So I started boarding there when I was about 15. But prior to that, I was sort of a day boy or weekly boarder sort of thing. So I was there from 8, 9 years old. But there's the River Hodder, which is a beautiful river that runs near the school. There's a part that's very, very difficult to get to. You have to climb down a sort of mountain, not a mountain face, but you know, like a rock face.
Yeah.
Cross the river, and then there's this beautiful part of the river that only the occasional fisherman goes to. There's no Wi-Fi, so once you get there, the Wi-Fi goes away. And sometimes I just go there and plonk myself there, and you know, just have a simple day in the sun or barbecue. That's my spot where I switch off. That's my place that no one really knows where it is. So
that sounds quite idyllic. I think having somewhere where, like you said, with no Wi-Fi, with no phone connection, these days is so rare to find places like that. So when you do, it's like, oh, you can just shut out the world and just be you and have a moment off from everything. Yeah. So I asked you to choose a possession, and what is that possession and how did it come into your life?
A possession.
Is it the letter?
A possession I'm not. I've struggled with this one, so I'm going to sort of slightly wing this one a little
Yeah.
bit.
No, it's okay. I mean, it could be not be a possession. It could be a piece of knowledge or a quote or something that
A
is
quote. I'll give you a quote.
okay.
A
Okay,
quote.
give
A
us a
quote
quote.
that I think about most days is, if it was easy, everyone would do it. So I don't think there's ever been a truer word said, and that was a quote that my father taught me.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think running the business, setting up, getting to where it has been now as 60 staff and doing all the events and the sponsorship we do is it's never easy. It's hard, but if it was easy, everyone would do it. So it makes a lot of
yeah,
sense. So
yeah, totally. And those moments when it is hard,
yeah,
you know, you have to be a particular type of person to just keep going and not give up and not stop and have that
yeah.
sort of resilience. But it sounds like, did your grandmother teach you that resilience? Was that something that sort of was built in from a younger age, or did you have to sort of slightly learn that?
My mother and father. So
Yeah.
my father set up a furniture company when he was 16 with my
When
grandfather.
he was 16.
Well, yeah. So my granddad Alberto, who's from Italy, hence my Italian sounding name but not accent.
Yeah.
He came over to Blackburn from Tuscany, found his way into a.
That must have been a bit of a shock.
Yeah, it was working in the mills in Blackburn, as a lot of Italians did after the war.
Yeah.
Um, and my grandfather started making furniture in the shed with my father when he was 16. They were working for another furniture company, but I think they started to sort of start a side hustle a little bit.
Yeah.
And they grew that business to a sort of 100 staff and sold it about 20 years ago now.
Wow.
So I never really worked in the business other than just sort of helping out a little bit in the summer when I was younger.
Off school. Yeah.
So my dad, by the time I was sort of an age where I could come and work, he wanted to sell out.
Yeah. But you saw him grow that business. You saw his dedication to it
Yeah,
and
yeah.
growing up. Yeah.
He would always remind me of the hard work that was needed because he was like a welder. He was very hands on.
Yeah.
And then he was, obviously lucky to do well with, not lucky, but he worked hard to do well with that business and give me a good life and good upbringing. So when you see that and you feel that, you kind of, it's ingrained in you, I guess. So
Yeah, totally. Now, with your brilliant boots, have you found yourself in a sticky position where, you've been in a moment of complete downpour where you've thought, thank God I've got these shoes on? And how sort of versatile are they? Do you wear them in the summer? Do you wear them in the winter? Has there been a sort of moment that you thought, yeah, this is why we make them?
yeah, I think, well, we started off as a very formal brand. And as I explained to you, we found ourselves in many sticky situations because we used to do all the shows.
Yeah.
And we were forever just getting caked in mud and, just so we were always having these problems. So then we sort of switched. And about 4 or 5 years ago, we introduced the 365 Vibram collection, which is waterproof, Vibram ice grip sole, which eradicated all those problems. So to be honest with you, name a county show and we've been at it and we've been stuck in a field or, having to get towed out of a field. So
Yes.
any of the big events, we've been there and got the T-shirt, as you say.
Well, I think that's maybe your new campaign, isn't it? Getting stuck at a show and don't worry, Lanx are here. That is.
There was one show up in the Lake District at Louth Castle in particular that I think every trader got stuck in, but we weren't selling waterproof, heavy duty boots then. They're not heavy at all, and that was quite a moment in the Lake District at Louth Castle, which is a beautiful part of the world. If you've ever been, I don't know.
No, I haven't been to that. I've been to the Lake District, but not there.
Next time you go, you should just take a look.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I'm imagining that. I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I've asked you to choose a sort of smell or a sound that resonates with you, that you sort of remember, or it ignites a memory or an emotion. Is it leather? is your choice leather?
My choice is the sound of the factory. So growing up, although the leather is a beautiful smell, and lots of customers, when they come on the stall, they'll stand there for 5 minutes sniffing all the shoes, which is quite amusing. So growing up in the factory, around my father's factory, although I didn't ever get involved with it, but just walking around my dad, following in his footsteps, sort of hearing the bangs and things like that. So what we've done here at Lanx, I'm in the office here, but downstairs is the shop, and there's a door that's always open in the shop through to the factory, so people can walk between the two. And the factory is quite loud. We've shut the door here now, but for people to be able to hear that sound of the factory, they're allowed to peer their head in and go and have a look, meet the team, have a coffee, and then come
that's
back.
part of the whole story, isn't it? That's part of, for me, when I'm going to buy something, if I can see, smell, touch, engage with it, that's what us humans rely on in life, the tactileness of life, whether that's with a person or with a product or with an animal. Those smells and sounds are so important.
Yeah, we didn't. Having visited lots of shoe factories around the world and in the UK, it's always that the factory door is firmly shut and you can't get in. You almost have to bang on it or ask for permission. And I wanted to completely change that. I encourage the door to be open and for people to walk in, because it's a nice experience.
And also see how incredible these craftsmen are at doing what they're doing, because so many people, necessarily don't buy these well-made shoes, and actually watching, they are made with people's hands and with so much love and so much care and so much precision. How cool to be able to actually see that in action.
Yeah, it's a bit of theatre, and it enables us to perhaps charge a little more than the high street brands, which is totally fair given the time and effort we put into it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Your animal. What is your animal that you've chosen today for us?
My animal is the British white bull.
Wow. Okay.
Which originates from Whalley, the village we're from, and is the same animal that was carted to Horton Tower in Preston and was presented to, Ben, you're going to have to research this for me. To research the British white bull, Horton Tower. I don't know the king's name, but it was a few hundred years ago. And that king who ate the loin of meat from that bull knighted it Sir Loin, because he enjoyed the loin of meat that much. And that's where the name sirloin comes from. And that originates from here, the village we're in Whalley.
There you are. And that is where sirloin comes from.
That's where sirloin. It's a Lancashire story.
Sirloin.
Sirloin. And prior to that, it was just a loin of meat. But then from there on in, everyone, because the king had knighted, everyone talks about sirloin. So that's my animal, British white bull. It's a bull that doesn't have any horns, but it does have very large testicles. So.
Large cojones.
There you go.
Do you have, are there still, like where you live, are there still lots of these breeds of cows everywhere?
So in Whalley, if you ever come here, it's a beautiful village. There's an abbey, and that's where the bull originates from. The monks of Whalley sort of, I don't know the word, reared it or
yes, yeah.
And there isn't any anymore. There are a few local farms around nearby. So on our first ever photo shoot, we borrowed one to have it come in to the village.
Oh, cool.
And it's on the sole of a lot of our shoes. I don't know if I've got it on the bottom.
Oh, I love that story.
So there you go, yeah.
So it's sort of become your mascot.
It's our mascot. That and the Lancashire Rose are our mascots.
And the rose. Love that,
yes.
So bull and a rose.
There
that's,
you go.
Feminine and male. You've got a bit of both there.
Well, that's what we do. We put the bull on the male and the rose.
Oh, do you actually? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm there.
Yeah.
Oh, and Marco, I'm going to ask you for sort of a closing reflection about the countryside. And I guess, what does the countryside mean to you and to your brand?
I think for me personally, it's just it's my happy place. You know, it's where I relax. It's where I
Yeah.
switch off. It's where I love taking my kids to walk, and it's where the business is. It's everything to me. Couldn't think of anything anywhere else. I really couldn't where the business would be.
Would you, from all the traveling that you did when you went around the world,
Hmm.
was there somewhere else that sort of could potentially replicate the British countryside, or just not at all?
Well, you go traveling, you think you've seen the world. The reality is you've seen probably 0.01%
Yeah,
of it.
true,
So,
true.
I mean, I've got a very soft spot for Bali and Indonesia. That was a beautiful country, beautiful people, beautiful scenery, beautiful countryside.
But
So
nothing like the UK.
nothing like the UK. Although there's elements of the farming culture and the cows sort of walking around with the
Yes, with the
bells on.
bells.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there's you can get out into the sticks in Bali, and like anywhere you can get out in the sticks. But I suppose nowhere is the same as
Home.
damp and wet and windy Lancashire on a
Yeah,
nice summer's day. So yeah,
yeah. And finally, Marco, dreams for Lanx.
dreams for Lanx
Yeah,
are, well, just I think number one is just enjoy it, enjoy being
yeah.
part of
Enjoy the
Lanx,
ride. Yeah.
enjoy coming into work. Hopefully the staff enjoy coming in. A few of them are over listening here, so
You better.
make sure everyone's enjoying it. I think that's the main thing. And yeah,
Do you sell just to the UK at the moment, or are you selling globally as well?
we sell worldwide.
Yeah,
We don't do any advertising worldwide, so it's whatever we get tends to be word of mouth,
yeah,
or it's a lot of expats. So people that used to live in Lancashire emigrated to Australia, New Zealand, America, and they like researching their old family history and
yeah,
where they're from. So
yeah.
I think we get a few sales from that angle. But yeah,
Would
we
that be something that you might potentially look at in the future? Like, I mean, America and Australia, in my mind, for your brand, would be huge consumers.
yes, we're on the cusp of going into different markets.
Mm,
I would say in the next 12 months,
yeah,
digitally.
yeah,
But we've got so much brand power here. We're doing the shows, doing the sponsorship, having the shops.
yeah,
You've got leverage. People trust you. Whereas to go straight into another market, you don't have any of that brand leverage. So we could only do it digitally,
yeah,
which we're going to give a go and see how it performs. We'll see.
yeah.
So,
Well, it sounds like you're the man to lead it. So I wish you all the luck for that. And hopefully I will see you at the game fair.
yes.
And I will come and check out your incredible stall. And we might even have a try on some boots.
Well, if you don't try on the boots or buy some boots, I invite you to come to our pop-up bar, the Cobbler's Cock.
Oh, yes.
You can have a drink or two on us. So
I'd love that. I would absolutely love that for sure. What's it called? The Cobblers?
the Cobbler's Cock,
Okay.
as in
And
a rooster cock animal.
I've got you. I've got you.
So yeah.
I will be there. So do you have a sort of pet rooster? You're not going to bring your chicken with you?
Well, there's the branding of the pub shows a cobbler with his chicken,
Yeah.
which is the Cobbler's Cock. But then we have lots of drinks on the bar, so I won't say the names of them. It's too rude for a podcast. You'll have to come and experience them yourself. So.
Okay. Well, as long as the I was thinking, gosh, can you maybe bring one of your white bulls with you? That would get some
Tricky.
serious headlines, wouldn't it?
Tricky. We'll see what we can do. We'll see.
All right, Marco. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for listening or watching. Please share and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And I will see you next week.